because of Land Before Time. Also, not to eat you, maybe gonna step on you, but I feel like we like understand the dynamic between, you know, like a creature like an elephant and a human being, and that's sort of what Brachiosaurus seems like to me. Thank you. Marissa? Hello.
I'm in cyber persuasion and revolution, and so just from both perspectives, thank you for your contribution to Star Wars.
Thank you for your contributions to the world.
Thank you so much.
Honestly.
Lucky in the village, you've had such a prolific career, it's been amazing, and I'm going to bring you back to Iron Man. And I'm just wondering what your experience with Iron Man is like, and do you know how much of a resurgence it's had in the last couple of years, just from Tobey Maguire now revisiting the character, and how much experience this particular character has taken on after like years and so much.
Thank you. When I got to play Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man, you know, it was only like the hardcore fans when they'd be like, "What character are you?" I'd be like, "Gwen Stacy," and they, you know, most people would be like, "Who?" And you know, the real fans like totally knew who Gwen Stacy was, and so you know, I coveted it. I saw my way into Spider-Man was through the Sam Raimi movies, and especially after the second one, I was like, my gosh, I need to be involved in something like this. And so I was very, very, very excited to play Gwen Stacy. It was super weird. Kirsten Dunst is awesome, and we're friends, and she's a natural blonde, and I'm obviously a redhead. And so she was spending hours in the salon becoming red. I was spending hours in the salon becoming blonde, and we would look at each other and be like, we were cast in the wrong parts. But honestly, it was just wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. I didn't know it at the time, but I was pregnant with my son, who's 17 now. He's blonde. He loves rock climbing. I blame Spider-Man. And of course, you know, like we were speaking to the resurgence, and especially with Spider-Gwen and everything, it's so cool. It's really, 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 really cool. I feel very excited to technically be the first Gwen, but very humble to be a part of the kind of Gweniverse, because you know so many extraordinary actors have been involved. Thank you.
We have time for, I think, about 3 more questions, but we'll see.
Hi, I'm Ash. I met you yesterday. I just signed my copy for looking for it. So I am obviously a huge fan of Yaddle. Kind of double question. How will you cast in the role of Yaddle for Tales of the Jedi? And is there any plan for you to return to voice her again?
I will always do anything for Star Wars. It doesn't matter. Credited, uncredited, whatever it ends up in the final thing, it's just using the voice for previs, whatever. Like, I will, like, if they need me for anything, I will make it happen. So, just to kind of, like, be clear about that. And the way it did happen was Dave Filoni asked me. And I was like, are you sure? and one thing that we talked about a lot was the voice and the speech pattern, and the fact that the kind of speaking backwards, speaking in the way that Yoda spoke was very specific to him. And that was cool to kind of get some insight into. And my gosh, I felt so lucky. And Dave is great. Dave is such an incredible storyteller and filmmaker. I mean, you all know this. By the way, Dave Filoni's great. Like, you know, he's the best. And so just getting to have that one-on-one time with him, you know, as a performer was really special.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next question.
My name is Pedro, and I left my day job a little while ago to work in the film and TV industry with aspirations of being a director one day. So my question is based on your directing experience. Now that you have a little bit more experience, what is one lesson you internalized later on in your directing career that you wish you would have known earlier in your directing career?
Such a good question. I have an answer to this. It's recent. I have an answer to this. And I should have known better. Okay, so I recently worked with Sam Rockwell in Argyle. And he's awesome. And what I saw was sometimes like previously, I would come in and ahead of the first take, I would be talking to the actor and, just being like, yeah, maybe it's something like this or that, and kind of getting them in the headspace and then seeing what they were going to do. But acting with Sam Rockwell, his sense of freedom is unbelievable. Like, as an actor, usually you're like, okay, these are my lines, I don't want to make a mistake. I just don't want to make a mistake. And Sam Rockwell's like, like, he just goes for it. And his improv is spectacular. It's dazzling what Sam does. And Matthew Vaughn really was able to tap into it. And I basically decided after shooting Argyle, I was like, if I can give the actors 3 takes before saying anything, that's what I want to do. Because I don't want to put anything in their head because they might surprise and dazzle. And the second that I'm saying something, they're trying to gain my approval. And I just want them to do their thing and go wild. And then, typically what happens is it just becomes kind of a little bit of this, or try a little bit of that, or try a little bit of this, and it becomes a more playful dynamic when you aren't kind of telling the actor what to do. And I should have known this because George Lucas taught my dad a very important lesson. When my dad was doing Willow, George really, he's an illustrator himself and really values the storyboarding process and worked with a young artist named David Lowery, who I've also worked with for now, and also the character Dave Lowery in Jurassic is, like, the character Lowery is based on the storyboard artist because he did the storyboards, like, for Jurassic as well. But he was a young man when he was working on Willow, and my dad was talking with Dave and was like, maybe this, and George pulled my dad aside and was like, don't tell him anything. Let's just see what he comes up with. Like, this kid is, like David Lowery is brilliant, and he is prolific, and like, let's just see what this young kid does and comes up with. And of course, what he came up with was totally inspired. And so it's, I should have known that. Like, I should have known that because George taught my dad that lesson. And so now I just, and obviously there are some circumstances where you don't have the leniency to do 3 full takes without saying anything. And folks will be like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? I'll be like, you can watch yourself if you want, but I'm liking what I'm seeing, And it's been a really great lesson for me. It's been really fun to see what actors do. Okay.
We have time for one last question.
Let's do 2 questions. You're giving up your question. You can do your question, and then we'll also do another question. You're so generous.
I was wondering, you've done a bunch of acting work from Rocketman to Health. I was wondering what the process for that was, if it was difficult for you, or is there anyone who was behind you?
Yes. I like doing accents. I'm pretty good at mimicry, and so it's something that I have a bit of an ear for. Don't ask me to do a South African accent though, because that is really hard for me, like very challenging. I always love to work with coaches, and even better if the person is regional, because you can hear it when you're from that place and it's your native language. So those are definitely the things that I kind of hold on to. A British accent, when my dad did Willow, they shot that in England, and my brother was born in England, and I was 5 at the time, and after living there for 72 hours, I had a full British accent. My parents were like, oh, I had a biscuit. Like, oh, the Queen is living with us, I see. And so that accent in particular is like kind of feels organic. Great question. Thank you.
Now for the last question.
Yeah. there's a real answer to this question. I'm so glad you're asking this question. I knew that running in heels was going to be a beast. Even when I was doing all the costume fittings, I was like, don't you think I should maybe, like the character has like boots, right? She has like over-the-knee boots. And the costume designer was like, no, she'll be far too protected. I was like, exactly. But I think, the costume designer was right. You didn't want to kind of foreshadow that this was a character who's going to be in peril. You wanted to be like, oh, this is a character who, like, if she leaves an office, she's going to die. But that's what you wanted to think of that. So I knew there was going to be tricky, and Colin said, there's going to come a point where you can kind of like let go of some of your like accoutrements, and if you want to, you can take off your heels, and then you can do the rest of the movie barefoot. And I was like, we're shooting in the jungle. I will take any footwear that you give me. I do not want to be barefoot. And so what I did, like I have a background in martial arts. I had these boards built that were kind of like, a little slanted. And just every single day, they'd be at the back of my car. Whenever I had a break, I would just go on the boards and I would be practicing just calf exercises and then, balancing exercises. Because basically all it is running on your tippy toes. That's all it is. You're just running on your tippy toes the whole time. And you can go pretty fast on your tippy toes. But if you put your heel down and you're running in the jungle, you're sunk. You're in big trouble. So it was good. It worked out, and it was really fun. But I was doing all these exercises, and no one was. This is a weird thing to say, but no one was complimenting me. No one was like, "Oh my gosh, it's incredible! You're running in heels." And then when the movie came out, I was like, and I wasn't it? I mean, not like that, that's very smart. But I was like,